Good welfare is an opportunity for anyone from the public to speak their mind. You have 3 minutes. If you would like to speak, put on your video so I can see you and find you. Use your electronic hand if possible. Mr. Schwartz. Unmute yourself, Mr. Schwartz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ron Schwartz. I live at 698 Larch Avenue, very close to the Stop and Shop facility and the area that's being deemed in need of redevelopment. I also represent the Southwest Teaneck Neighborhood Association of more than 100 homeowners in Southwest Teaneck, which includes the area that I believe is under discussion tonight. I'd like to ask the board, I understand that you're going into closed session, I'm guessing, to discuss the settlement of the Stop and Shop litigation, which includes, as I was reading some of the stipulation of settlement tonight, approval of a massive development of the area around American Legion Drive and Beverly Road, including 3 large apartment buildings with associated parking garages and amenities, and taking in the town selling the American Legion parking lot to developers, and the southern part of the Stop and Shop parking lot to developers as well for another apartment building. This is very similar to a development which was rejected by the Township voters in 1990 and resulted in a change of Township election procedures to elect council members every 2 years. I'd just like to know, we just found out about this today, that this was happening. When is the public going to have an opportunity to discuss or object to the redevelopment of this area? I don't know. I have not been notified of any public meetings relating to either the approval of this settlement, which involves this extensive development in the Stop and Shop in American Legion Drive area. When is the public and certainly the members of my association going to have an opportunity to publicly comment on the impact of this, what seems to be a very substantial development in the middle of our business district? When are we going to have an opportunity to comment? And if we don't have an opportunity to comment, I would ask that you postpone approval of this settlement agreement until there's been a public meeting where all members of the public have an opportunity to comment on the value of this development. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Gail Gordon, you're muted.
Yes, I'm also concerned, as Mr. Schwartz pointed out, about how we just learned about this, and it is a significant change to our community. And we need to be able to, if it is a real democracy, we need to be able to look at these things and comment. And what was presented that I read was very difficult for someone who is not a lawyer to understand. And I mean, I think it's done for a reason. I think that many of the decisions that have been made by the planning board and the council have been done in the interest of developers and of moneymakers rather than the interests of the people of Teaneck. And one example of that is the tax provisions of the settlement, where the developers are given, or anyway, they're given tax breaks. So, and if I don't have that right, I know they're tax breaks, but if I don't have that right, there's a reason, because it's a very complicated document to understand. And I don't believe that if we're really talking about a democratic process, that these decisions are for the people of Teaneck, that they should be able to understand them, or you should be required to explain it to us. So I just think this is really an outrage to have this thrown before us without a thorough discussion and understanding by us, the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Powers?
Yes, I'd like to begin with appreciation to this planning board for the way in which it conducted the meeting of August 25, when you actually had a very substantive discussion about a proposed ordinance that you found to be inconsistent with the master plan, a judgment which was certainly correct, and which both this board and the public who participated agreed. And as a result of that, on Tuesday night, this township council tabled that ordinance, which had no business being passed because it applied only to one block in the entire city, in the entire township of Teaneck. Tonight, you're actually going to be looking at a proposal that is far more reaching than what you properly discussed on the 25th of August. It is an extraordinary discussion of handing over to a single redeveloper, the same redeveloper whose president today was the executive vice president who wrote the report that condemned the existing township supermarket, Stop and Shop, as being to undermine the health, safety, welfare, and morals, for goodness, of this township. And the settlement that you are going to see tonight would allow Mr. Velosin, who is the president of that Crossroads Companies, to become the owner of the entire set of areas in need of redevelopments on both the east and west side of Cedar Lane, to become the owner of all of those properties and to have substantial oversight of all the issues that Mr. Schwartz properly raised. I hope that you will recognize that until the public understands, as Mr. Schwartz and Ms. Gordon just said, what it is that you're doing and to whom you are turning this responsibility over under the name of a settlement for litigation into which you are going to go into closed session and exclude us from the discussion, I hope that you will then allow us to be part of the public discussion which occurs before the resolution that you see tonight. Thank you very much.
Paula Rogovan.
I'm Paula Rogovan. I live 2 blocks from Stop and Shop. I'm a active member in the Southwest Teaneck Neighborhood Association. I have to tell you that the people in this area, which is from the railroad tracks to River Road, from Cedar Lane to Pagoda, the people we've talked to don't want this. They don't want anything to do with this. We don't want the increased pollution from the traffic. We don't want the increased amount of traffic coming and going through our back streets. We have a school right nearby. We have 2 schools right nearby. We don't want this kind of extra traffic. It's a horrible idea. It sounds to me like it's about profit, somebody profiting from it, not something that the community wants or needs. In fact, you don't even speak to us about what we need. We haven't had a discussion, a hearing about whether we want apartment buildings, whether we want a supermarket, we don't want a supermarket. There's been no transparency, no public input. It's pure wrong. It's purely unacceptable. And it smacks to me of corruption. And we're going to fight it. We're going to fight it and we're going to stop it. Because you can't just move into Teaneck with your ideas and just plant them on our community. We will not accept that.
Thank you. Seeing nobody else.
Mr. Rose.
Mr. Rose.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I just joined the meeting 3 minutes ago at 8:14, and I hope I'm not repeating what everyone else has been saying, because I'm assuming that people who are participating in this have some valid, well, some perceived concerns. I think the area needs redevelopment personally. And what the scope is and how it should be is something that certainly is up for discussion with a lot of people. My concern right now is that it seems as if it was done clandestinely. It seems as if it was done in cahoots with a specific developer. It seems as if it's done out of range, out of people knowing what's going on. People need to know what's going on to a greater degree. A late entry to the ball game. Obviously, something's been going on for months regarding this. These plans didn't pop up out of the blue. They've been ongoing. Why aren't they shared ongoing? Just like many other things that are happening in Teaneck government. It's clandestine and it's released at the time that it wants to be released, which is the time that it's before a planning board or before the council. It feels soiled. It feels wrong. It feels. I'm a little ashamed that we do the activities that may even be good ideas in such a way. And I hope that the act can be cleaned up. I hope that it can be reviewed by all the participants, which means residents. I hope it goes forward on a better footing. It's sad to see this. It feels like it's trafe. It's just not right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Anyone else? Alan Stone?
Can you hear me?
You can.
There is a system that many of us call the free market, in which where multiple entities are given an opportunity to pursue a project, to compete on different characteristics, it is that much more likely that you're going to get the best deal. The entity that has been handed this deal is the same entity that came up with a report that said that Stop and Shop was an area in need of redevelopment that impacted the health, safety, welfare, and morals of township residents because it had long aisles that had end caps, because some refrigerators needed to be replaced. And then that same entity appears to be the only entity that was considered. This wasn't put out for bid. It wasn't given over to one other company or 5 or 100 other companies or announced in any newspaper. Instead, a backroom deal was made. The township again held the cards. It owned critical pieces of land that would make this possible. And instead of using that to negotiate the best possible deal for the residents of Teaneck, it made a giveaway that gives the properties involved and assigns a tax rate at the lowest possible rate to this developer. How is this protecting the interests of the taxpayers of Teaneck? Is this the way we do business, where the one entity that the 2 township deputy mayors want to do business with are given a project? This is no way to do business. We need to do something on Cedar Lane. We need to improve it. But the purpose of doing this is not by just handing something over to one company who from day one was handed an inside track without any explanation or justification of why that one and only that one business was given that opportunity. We have to do better. We have to be able to explain to the public why we're making these decisions and why these giveaways happen time after time after time. This has to end once and for all. It can, starting on November 8th.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Go to offer is closed. Now 8:22.